Animal cruelty is a very big deal in the United States. There are different reasons that people abuse animals, but none of them are acceptable. Being cruel to animals is the worst kind of human. Every state enforces a different punishment for animal cruelty. Some say more strict than others. WKYT 27 News First, November 11, 2010, reported the death of 6 Powell County pets in Kentucky. These pets were poisoned from hot dogs containing pesticides when they wandered off behind their houses. Police investigated and aren't convinced that this was an accident due to them being so close to the houses. The startling thing about this is that the state police say that the suspects may only face misdemeanor second-degree cruelty to animal charges because first-degree animal cruelty, a felony, is usually reserved for cases that involve animal fighting. Do you think this is the right punishment for people who are cruel to animals? Would you want this type of punishment for a murder case? This could happen to my pet, yours, a friend, a neighbor, or family members. My purpose here is to persuade you that this problem of animal cruelty can and would be solved through stricter laws. I'm here to convince you that our state should deal with animal abuse by making stricter laws to stop people from abusing them. Today, I'd like to talk to you about first, the current animal abuse law in Kentucky, second, the need for these laws to be stricter, and last, animal rights and mortality. I'll begin by telling you about the current laws in Kentucky against animal abuse. Animals all over the world, especially right here in Kentucky, need the correct treatment, just like humans. The problem is that Kentucky takes animal abuse too lightly and doesn't give the correct punishment for it. LEX 18 News says, according to the news report released Wednesday by the Animal League Defense Fund, ALDF, Kentucky is the worst state in the country when it comes to animal abuse. The annual report, the only one of its kind in the nation, ranks all 50 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and other U.S. territories for the general comprehensiveness and relative strength of their respective animal protective laws. Among Kentucky's weaknesses are its animal protection laws, according to the ALDF. The state has no provisions for future abused animals, no restrictions to the future ownership of animals for those convicted of cruelty to animals, no provisions to help offset the high costs of caring for abused animals, inadequate animal fighting provisions, and no requirements for mental health evaluations or counseling following a conviction. Stephen Otto, Animal Legal Defense Fund's Director of Legislative Affairs, says, this year we see many states that are continuing to make outstanding progress with their laws. Unfortunately, there are still many places, Kentucky in particular, where the laws are incapable of providing the legal protections that our country's animals need and deserve. Even in those jurisdictions that have today's best laws, there remains many opportunities for improvement. Kentucky has laws for cruelty to animals in the first and second degree, and the torture of a dog or cat, but they don't follow through with the max number of years you can get in jail. Kentucky's max number of years of jail time for animal abuse is 5 years, and max fine is $10,000. However, Kentucky doesn't follow through with this. They only give about 30 days, something like that. There is a great need for change in these animals' lives because they're as precious as a human being, but their abusers don't get the correct punishment, especially compared to what humans would get. Now that you know the ranking of Kentucky in animal abuse, there is a way to offset it. Kentucky's animal abuse laws need to be made stricter so that abusers can get the correct punishment. This needs to be done because it will decrease most of the animal abuse cases in Kentucky, and Kentucky will no longer be ranked as the best state to get away with animal abuse. According to PetAbuse.com, there was a case of 112 dogs seized, 40 dead in Sand Springs, Kentucky by 3 people. One of them got 30 days in jail, and the other 2 got home incarceration and aren't allowed to own pets for 2 years. According to WKYT, 13 people charged in the massive animal cruelty case in Jackson County entered Alford pleas Monday. That means Sean Innes, Tim Faust Robbins, and Amy Faust do not admit guilt, but acknowledge there's enough evidence to convict them. They were arrested in March after police found more than 100 dogs in filthy conditions at a home near McKee. The judge gave Sean Innes 30 days in jail, while Amy Faust and Tim Faust Robbins got home incarceration followed by probation. Before you ask, are these sources credible, I'm going to answer that question. This website is very credible because it gets updated a lot, and the updates are mostly from news crews. This change would give animals in Kentucky a much brighter future. If we come together to help change Kentucky's animal abuse laws, it will not only benefit these animals' lives, but also their owners. The animals will live a much happier, longer life, while their owner will live a much happier one. The animals won't have to deal with being tortured and hurt nearly as much, and the owners can be at peace and not worry about trying to change the laws all the time. I hope everything I've spoken with you about today has shown you that there is a need for stricter animal abuse laws in Kentucky. To sum it up, first, there are animal abuse cases in Kentucky every day that call out for our help. Second, we need to come together as a state and do something to help stop this. And third, we need to realize how big of an impact this would make on the animals of Kentucky and also owners of pets. None of this will happen if we don't come together and convince our state governor that something needs to change. You must write or call your local governor and get the possibility of change over this law intact. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you've learned enough from me today that you will contact someone as soon as possible to get this change done.